तुम्ही वर्गाला जाताय ना?
एक मिनिट.
तुम्ही घरात जाताय का?
तुम्ही दहावीवर आहे का? Good morning, everyone. This is Pratiksha from Tank Road MPS Secondary School. And today we are going to learn about coordination in plants, growth relevant movements, coordination in human beings, nervous control and nervous system. Sir, आवाज येतोय का? Sir. Hello.
Yes, teacher.
आवाज येतोय का सर?
हो येतो ना.
Okay, sir. Okay. Sorry, sir. So we are going to learn about types of nerve cells, means neurons, human nervous system. In that we are going to learn about central nervous system, brain and spinal cord, peripheral nervous system, autonomic nervous systems. What we have learned, let us quickly recap. Okay. So we have learned about coordination in plants, how coordination takes place in plants, all the growth relevant movements and all. So coordination in plants means plants plants do not have systems like nervous system or muscular system like animals. So then how do plants bring about movements? In plants, movements are mainly in the form of response given to stimuli. We have learned about growth relevant movements also. In that, tropic movements, phototropic movements, gravitotropic movements, chemotropic movements, and all these are called growth relevant movements. In tropic movement or growth of any part of the plant in response to an external stimulus is called as tropic movement or tropism. And phototropic movement means the shoot system of any plant responds to the light stimulus, that is, it grows towards the source of light. And the movement shown by plants towards the source of light is called as phototropic movement. Now, gravitotropic movements means the root system of plants responds to stimuli like gravitation. It's called a gravitotropic. And hydrotropic means the root system of plants responds to stimuli to water. It's called as hydrotropic movement. So the movement shown by plants in response to specific chemicals is called as chemotropic movement. For example, growth of pollen tube towards the ovule. So all the above movements of plants are related with growth, hence all the such movements are called as growth relevant movements. And we are learning about coordination in human being, how it takes place. So different processes go on simultaneously in human body. All those processes need to be efficiently and effectively controlled and coordinated. So this is done with the help of two systems, nervous system and nervous system and chemical control. Nervous system and chemical control. So in nervous system, humans can respond to changes in their surroundings due to nervous control. Impulses are generated in the body in accordance with changes in the surrounding. And nervous control plays the important role of empowering the body cells with ability to surrounding. Ability to respond to these impulses. This ability depends upon the complexity of organization in the organism's body structure. Unicellular animals like the amoeba do not have a nervous system which produces such impulses and responses. However, multicellular animals like humans have a nervous system to respond to stimuli. Control and coordination is brought about with the help of a special type of cells called as nerve cells or neurons. We learned about neurons also. What are neurons? These are the special types of cells which conduct impulse from one place to another in the body are called neurons. Neurons are the structural and functional units of the nervous system. Nerve cells, the largest cell in the human body, may measure up to a few meters in length. Nerve cells have the ability to generate and conduct electrochemical impulses. The cells that support the nerve cells and help in their functioning are called as neuroglia. Nerve cells and neuroglial cells together form the nerves. So all the information about all the surroundings is collected by the ends, or it is called as dendrites of the neuron, and the chemical process begins at those ends and electric impulses are generated which are conducted from the dendrites to the cell body, from the cell body to the axon, and from the axon to its terminal. These impulses are then to be transferred from this nerve cell to the next. So now the impulse that reaches the terminal of an axon stimulates the nerve cells to secrete certain chemicals. These chemicals pass through minute space called the synapse between two adjacent neurons and generate the impulse in the dendrites of next neurons. This way, impulses are conducted in the body and these impulses are finally conveyed by nerve cells to muscle cells or glands. So, till here we have learned about all these things like coordination in plants, growth relevant movement, coordination in human beings, nervous control and neurons. Now we are going to learn about types of nerve cells or neurons, human nervous system, in that central nervous system, peripheral nervous system and autonomic nervous system. In central nervous system, brain and spinal cord we are going to learn. So let us start with these types of nervous system. Types of nerve cells or neurons. Types of nerve cell or neuron. According to the function, nerve cells are classified into three types: sensory neurons, motor neurons, association neurons. Sensory neurons conduct impulses from sensory organs to the brain and spinal cord. And motor neurons conduct impulse from the brain or spinal cord to effector organs like muscles or glands. Association neurons perform the function of integration in the nervous system. So you can see in the picture, three cell pictures are given. One is sensory neurons, motor neuron, and association means interneuron. So you can see that the shapes and the structure and the shape of all these three neurons are different. So the sensory neurons conduct the impulse from the sensory organs to the brain. It conducts impulse from the sensory organs to the brain and to the spinal cord. Motor neuron conduct impulse from the brain or spinal cord to effector organs like muscles or glands. And association neurons perform the function of integration in the nervous system. So you can see in the picture, motor neuron is given which conduct impulse from the brain or spinal cord to the effector organs like muscles or glands. Sensory organs, what they are doing, they are sending these impulses from sensory organs to the brain and the spinal cord. Association neuron perform the function of integration in the nervous system. Now the human nervous system. What is there in the human nervous system? The human nervous system is divided into following three parts: central nervous system, peripheral nervous system, and autonomic nervous system. Central nervous system. You can see in the picture, central nervous system is shown. Even the peripheral nervous systems are also shown over there. So central nervous system, peripheral nervous system, and autonomic nervous system, these are the three parts of human nervous system: CNS, PNS, ANS. So CNS, central nervous system. The central nervous system consists of the brain and spinal cord. It consists of a brain and spinal cord. The organization of the brain is extremely delicate and highly evolved. The brain is the main controlling part of the nervous system, and it is safely located in the cranial cavity. The spinal cord is protected by the vertebral column. In the space between the delicate central nervous system and its bony covering are the protective layers called the meninges. So the cavities present in the various parts of the brain are called ventricles, and whereas the long tubular cavity of the spinal cord is called a central canal. The ventricles and the central canal and the spaces between the meninges are filled with cerebrospinal fluid. This fluid supplies nutrients to the central nervous system and protect it from the shock. So see this, how central nervous system is much more important. Why? Because it consists of the brain and the spinal cord, and it is extremely delicate and highly evolved part. The brain is the main controlling part of the nervous system, and it is safely located in the cranial cavity. The spinal cord is protected by the vertebral column in the space between the delicate central nervous system and its bony covering are the protective layers called the meninges. Cavities present in various parts of the brain are called as ventricles, whereas the long tubular cavity of the spinal cord is called the central canal. The ventricles, central canal, and the spaces between the meninges are filled with cerebrospinal fluid. This fluid supplies nutrient to the central nervous system and protects it from the shock. Now the structure of the brain. The brain is made up of cerebrum, cerebellum, medulla, oblongata. You can see in the picture it is clearly shown the biggest part, that is cerebrum, then the green part, that is cerebellum, and the purple part is medulla oblongata. Let's go further to know more. The brain of an adult human weighs about 300 to 1400 gram. It weighs about 300 to 1400 gram and consists of approximately 100 billion neurons. See how many neurons are there? So many neurons. 10 billion neurons, and all the neurons are classified into three types, as we have learned about, like a sensory neuron, motor neuron, and association neuron. So the brain of an adult human weighs about 1300 to 1400 grams and consists of approximately 100 billion neurons. The left side of our brain controls the right side, and the right side of the brain controls the left side of the body. In addition, the left side of the brain controls our speech and conversation, writing, logical thinking, etc. Whereas the right side controls artistic abilities. All the abilities that we have, like related with art, is controlled by right side. So it is clearly shown in the picture, the left side and the right side. The right side is related with emotional intelligence, imagination, expression, art awareness, intuition, creativity. And the left side is analytical thinking, numbers, language, reasoning, logic, science, and math. So those who are good in math means that their left brain is more active, and those are good in arts and values, their right brain is more active. So the left and the right brain. The left brain means logic, realistic, in control, linear, analytical, scientific, accurate, practical, mathematics, categorized, strategic. And the right brain, free spirit, feeling, senses, art, creativity, poetry, yearning, sexuality, passion, imagination, and vivid. All these things are good. So the left brain means analytical thinking, logical thinking, language, science, and mathematics, whereas the right brain means holistic thinking, intuition, creativity, art, and music. Now cerebrum. This is the largest part of our brain and consists of two cerebral hemispheres. It is the largest part, as we have seen in the this picture. The largest part, that is creamish color or skin color, that is cerebrum. It is the largest part. This is the largest part. So it consists of two cerebral hemispheres. These hemispheres are joined with each other with the help of tough fibers and nerve tracts. With the tough fibers and nerve tracts, and the cerebrum occupies 2/3 of the brain. It occupies 2/3 of the brain. Hence, it is also called the large brain. Its surface has deep, irregular ridges and grooves, which are called convolution. Convolution increases the surface area of cerebrum and therefore a large number of nerve cells can be accommodated here. So cerebrum is the largest part of the brain. Now cerebellum. This is the smaller part of the brain, the green color part which we have learned, and in this picture, the red color part which you are uh, seeing in front is the smaller part of the brain situated below the cerebrum at the back of the cranial cavity. Its surface shows shallow grooves instead of deep convolution. Medulla convolution. So understood by this, in cerebrum, uh, it is the largest part of the brain, and cerebellum is the smaller part of the brain. Okay, so deep convolution, the surface is shallow. In cerebrum, the surface was convoluted, deep convoluted. Now medulla oblongata. The pink color portion is called as medulla oblongata, which is in front of your eyes. So this is the hindmost part of the brain. It is at the back of the brain. There are two triangular swollen structures called pyramids on the upper side of the medulla oblongata. The medulla oblongata continues downwards as the spinal cord grows. Okay, so understood by the three parts: cerebrum, cerebellum, and medulla oblongata. Cerebrum is the largest part of the brain and consists of two cerebral hemispheres. These hemispheres are joined with each other and with the help of tough fibers and nerve tracts. The cerebrum occupies two-thirds of the brain, hence it is called as the large brain. Its surface has deep, irregular ridges and grooves which are called convolution. Convolution increases the surface area of the cerebrum and therefore a large number of nerve cells can be accommodated in this. Cerebrum is the smaller part of the brain situated below the cerebrum of the back of the cranial cavity. Its surface shows shallow groove instead of deep convolution. Medulla oblongata, this is the hindmost part of the brain. There are two triangular swollen structures called pyramids on the upper side of the medulla oblongata. The medulla oblongata continues downwards as the spinal cord goes. Now the spinal cord or spinal cord, you can say anything. The spinal cord is the part of central nervous system and it is held within the vertebral column. It is slightly thick but gradually tapers towards the end. There is a thread-like fibrous structure at its ends. It is called as phylum terminally. What it is called as phylum terminally. The spinal cord is a part of the central nervous system and it is held within the vertebral column. It is slightly thick but gradually tapers towards the end. There is thread-like fibrous structure at its end is called as phylum terminally. You can see in the picture the spinal cord, the colorful spinal cord is shown. In that, cleavus is there, then cervical, the purple band, the yellow band, thoracic, then the lumbar band, green, and the blue sacral and the coccyx. So all these are the part of spinal cord. Now the parts of the brain and their structure. We have learned about cerebrum, cerebellum, and medulla oblongata, which is also called as brain stem, and spinal cord are the parts of the brain. Let us learn about the function. Cerebrum. It controls of voluntary movements, concentration, planning, decision making, memory, intelligence, and intellectual activities. Cerebellum, coordination of voluntary movements, maintaining the body balance. Then medulla oblongata. It control of involuntary activities like the beating of the heart, blood circulation, breathing, sneezing, coughing, and salivation, etc. Spinal cord, conduction of the impulse from the skin towards the brain, conduction of impulse from the brain to muscles and glands, functions as the center of the control of the reflex actions. So, brain stem means medulla oblongata, it changes in heart rate, breathing, blood pressure, vomiting, swallowing, digestion. Cerebrum, it is the function is it helps in intelligence, learning ability, judgment, speech and memory, sense of hearing, vision, taste and smell, skeletal muscle movement. Cerebellum, balance and coordination, posture. Okay, so all these things we have learned today. So let us recap again what we have learned. So types of nerve cells. According to the functions, nerve cells are classified into three types. Sensory neurons means sensory neurons conduct impulse from the sensory organs to the brain and spinal cord. Then motor neurons conduct impulse from the brain or spinal cord to effector organs like muscle or gland. Association neuron performs the function of integration in the nervous system. Then the human nervous system. The human nervous system is divided into the following three parts: central nervous system, peripheral nervous system, and autonomic nervous system. Central nervous system or CNS means the central nervous system consists of the brain and the spinal cord. The organization of the brain is extremely delicate and highly evolved. The brain is the main controlling part of the nervous system and it is safely located in the cranial cavity. The spinal cord is protected by the vertebral column. In the space between the delicate central nervous system and its bony covering are the protective layers called meninges. Cavities present in the various parts of the brain are called as ventricles, whereas the long tubular cavity of spinal cord is called as central canal. The ventricle, central canal, and the spaces between the meninges are filled with the cerebrospinal fluid. This fluid supplies nutrients to the central nervous system and protects it from the shock. We have learned about the structure of brain. The brain of an adult human weighs about 1300 to 1400 grams and consists of approximately 100 billion neurons. The left side of our brain controls the right side of our body and the right side of our brain controls the left side of the body. In addition, the left side of the brain controls our speech and conversation, whereas logical thinking, whereas the right side controls artistic abilities. Now, cerebrum, cerebellum, and medulla oblongata. Cerebrum means it is the largest part of our brain and consists of the two cerebral hemispheres. These hemispheres are joined with each other with the help of tough fibers and nerve tracts. The hemisphere, the cerebrum occupies two-thirds of the brain, hence it is called as the large brain. Its surface has deep irregular regions and grooves which are called as convolution, and convolution increases the surface area of the cerebrum. Therefore, a large number of nerve cells can be accommodated. Cerebrum, cerebellum. This is the smaller part of the brain situated below the cerebrum of the back of the cranial cavity. Its surface shows shallow groove instead of deep convolution. Medulla oblongata. This is the hindmost part of the brain. There are two swollen structures called pyramids on the upper side of the medulla oblongata. It is having two, and the medulla oblongata continues towards the spinal cord. We have learned about the spinal cord also. Spinal cord is a part of the central nervous system and it is held within the vertebral column. It is slightly thick but gradually tapers towards the end. There is a thread-like fibrous structure at its fluid and its end, and it is called a spinal terminal. You have been asked one question so many times that if you see a drunken person struggles to maintain his body balance and excess of alcohol in the body, one of the two controls over it. Why does this happen? And we need to find out the reason. So the reason is that the alcohol consumption leads to the contraction of brain tissues causing a depression in the CNS, means central nervous system. So today we will Now the part of the brain and the function. Cerebrum is control of voluntary movement, concentration, planning, decision making, memory, intelligence, and intellectual activities. Cerebellum, coordination of voluntary movements, maintaining the balance. Medulla oblongata, control of involuntary activities like the beating of the heart, blood circulation, breathing, sneezing, coughing, and salivation. Spinal cord, coordination of the impulse from the skin towards the brain, conduction of impulse from the brain to the muscles and glands, functions as the center of coordination of reflex action. So these are the questions for homework. Draw a well-labeled diagram of human brain. You can see this picture, beautiful picture on the page number 171, and make it and submit it. And then write a short note of human brain. You need to write all the things and you need to label the given diagram. Okay. So today the topic which we have learned, like types of nerve cells and the human nervous system, is finished over here. So we have started a little earlier, so we'll wind up also a little earlier. So in this topic we are learning since 2-3 times, right? So all you can understand it better. So tomorrow we'll start with peripheral nervous system and autonomic nervous system with chemical bond, then endocrine glands and their functions or the importance. Okay. So today, hello, hello.
Yes, teacher.
So can I wind up?
Yes, yes.
Okay. So we'll stop.